Hello everyone, it's Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo here again for another one of my State of the Game vlogs for Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous. It's been a pretty busy weekend for me. I work Wednesdays through Sundays in retail, and it's always busy in the line of work I do. So when I got home on Friday night and had a nice evening with my roommate and best friend Sarah, and then went upstairs to watch the live stream of Cloud Imperium Games CitizenCon, I was a little bit in over my head because I had to be up first thing in the morning and they put out a wealth of information. Unlike other presentations that they've done in the past, there was very little video that they actually put up on the website soon after. In other times, they've had lots of video up. The presentation itself, or the little pieces and inside the Cloud Imperium Games videos that they do. This time, just the commercial for the Cutlasses. So I'm going to be talking, and you're going to be seeing me racing in my 350R. Isn't it gorgeous? Isn't it pretty? You will see it bang around a couple of times. So I'm feeling much better about the game since I watched the live stream, and mainly because their planetside manual planetside manual. Here we go with the braces getting in my way again. But the planetside module demo that they did is showing me that there's going to be a lot more to this game than just racing, just fighting, just flying in your ships, just hanging out in your hangar. I knew this to be true, which is why I'm so fanatically into the game. And like I said, here I am crashing. But they did such an amazing demo that it just went on to prove to me that what they call alpha is probably a little bit less alpha and a little bit more pre-beta. There's a lot of cool things that they showed off. They showed off landing the ship, which is done automated, and even though it's done automated, it's not done with a typical cutscene that you load and come back in. It's kind of a seamless transition from space to whatever planet you're landing on, and then right into the landing area, and yes, you have no control, and I understand why that is. Because in a persistent universe, in a persistent world, you crashing into a building could have some negative effects on everybody out there. So that's one of the reasons why they're not going to have that. I liked what I saw. The graphics are incredible, and it just goes to show you that Twin Titans may be needed to have this game on maximum, because you did not have many characters in there. Picture 1,000, 10,000, 20,000 different people on server at once, all descending upon the ACOM station over there in the Stanton system. It would not have been pretty at that point, but nonetheless, it was a beautiful demo. So I want to bring attention to a couple of things that I talked about last week and wrap them into this. Last week, I was talking about the cost of ships, and I was trying to justify it to myself because I was getting ready to melt my Phoenix and come up with a couple of other ways that I can get the 890 jump, because it was just such a gorgeous ship, I had to have it. What I wound up doing in the end was deciding that yes, it is a ship that I'm going to have in my hangar. But there has to be a stop to all this melting, buying, and inching up that billing and subscription number. Never go to that page, by the way. It's scary. There has to be a stop to it, and I think I'm going to put a stop to it for the time being until my videos actually start making me money. I'm still taking money out of my pocket, sometimes a couple $100 a month, sometimes $50, $60 a month. And it's starting to weigh me down just a tad bit. What I can say is thanks to my patrons over at patreon.com, you've made it much easier for me to do things like the giveaways I do and make up for the added internet bills that I've been having. So when you say, what am I spending money on? Well, I'm constantly upgrading my system specs. I'm looking to get a camera to do a 2-camera shoot. and also looking into doing the noise abatement, noise canceling, noise proofing of the room downstairs where I shoot to get less of an echo. There's a lot of other things. I definitely need 32 gigs of RAM and an SSD for my filming, or I should say editing, because it takes hours sometimes for my videos to render. It's never hours, it's only about 45 minutes to an hour, but that's still a long time. Anyway, I'm looking to curtail the ship purchases for two reasons on my own personal side. The first reason is I really want there to be something to strive for, something for me to do when I get in the game. The second reason is I just don't have the money, and if I can't justify it, I don't. If I can't justify the fact that I need it and will absolutely never live without it, I'm not going to get it. Which is why the reclaimer went to the melting bin, and I have 3 cutlasses to do my ship reviews. So let me be a little bit more particular in this. I will be obtaining ships by melting and purchasing and melting again in order to do my reviews, on top of borrowing friends and organization mates' accounts to do that. So if you do see new ships in my hangar, it will most likely be something is missing, like in this case, the reclaimer is gone. So let's move on to the next thing. They talked about 64-bit versus 32-bit, and there was something else, single point floating point computations and dual point floating point computations. Both of those things together are going to start giving them a much more, they're going to be able to get into a place where they can increase the size of the maps that we're playing in right now by an exponential degree. And one way to look at it is this way. In 32-bit computing, you could address like 3.2 gigabytes of memory, which isn't a lot, and a lot of systems went up to 4, but when you looked at what was being addressed, it was really only 3.25. Why you put 4 in there is the added speed from dual channel RAM, being able to read and write from both RAM chips at the same time. When 64-bit architecture became more and more prevalent, it actually added memory address space of an exabyte. I think it's what it's called, or maybe it's 10 exabytes. It's an exponential degree higher than what 32-bit was. When you look at that and try to turn it over to map sizes, they're going to go from 8 by 8 to like 1,000 by 1,000. So it's going to be a huge increase in the size of a world that they could create. And with that said, it's also going to put a huge increase on the performance hit to our system when they start adding that. NVIDIA has just come out with some new graphic cards that may help us with that. The 900 series, the 970 and 980, which are the new mid-range cards. The 990, I guess, won't come out for a few weeks to a few months, and that will be the new Titan range of cards. They're significantly faster and have a lot of cool features on them, and they're going to help us run this game better. The good news is that NVIDIA is probably going to have yet another update by the time the game is released. So if you're thinking about running out there and getting these new cards right now, you might want to just pick up a really inexpensive mid-range to lower upper end NVIDIA card from the last time and save your money for the release of the cards next year, because they'll probably be much more helpful to us in this game than what's currently out. Yes, I'm bopping around, but it all comes back to the fact that they're increasing the size of the maps. Right now, with the added speed that you have in the Arena Commander matches, I find them very unrealistic and very much not fun, which is why I've been racing. In just a few seconds, you can go from one end of the screen to the other in the M50, one end of the player arena to the other end. And that's just not realistic to me, and it's just a constant going back and forth and skidding and then going back and forth, and hitting whatever I can in the meantime. And I know I can do some other things. I just haven't mastered the M50 in combat yet. But the fact that it's so small is getting to me. Now, they said that in one of the next patches, I think it's by version 1.0, we should see larger maps. And then by version 2.0, we should have that full 64-bit dual point floating point addressing in the game. Now, how is this actually going to be brought into fruition? Well, there have been some problems at CryEngine, and they were trying to move the engine into that mode, and bankruptcy scares and people leaving the company and all. It was starting to make me think, how are they going to do this? Are they going to do it themselves? And it seems like they are. Sean Tracy is now on the staff at Cloud Imperium Games. So I'm much happier at this point to see that, because it means that we are going to have one of the people that worked for CryEngine working directly for Cloud Imperium Games, someone that's been the liaison between the two companies for some time, actually now heading up the engine for the game. And I'm pretty excited about that. It means a lot to me, because I feel that this game needs to take that next step, and they needed to own the engine, and that's a pretty good deal at this point, that they are going to be not owning the engine, but owning their little piece of it. One thing that I take away from Citizen Con is how the game is starting to diversify itself into things that actually make sense and can happen. Yes, there was a lot of promises there. We were promised a space combat sim, a space trading sim. Then we were promised multiple planets and worlds to go to, multiple mechanics, everything from salvage operations to an engineer that's going to fix and make the engines on a ship and the power units, or power, what do you call them again? The power plants and the, so weapons, power plants, and engines overclocked and modified. And those are all things that are now coming into play and starting to see some work over at Cloud Imperium Games. We've also seen ships like the 890 introduced now, which don't really have a combat role. They have more of an organizational hierarchy role, controlling an organization, or just being a pleasure cruiser to where you can meet your friends and socialize with them. I also like the fact that they're looking at some of the steadfast ships, like the Cutlass that is in the video that you're seeing right now. This is one of my favorite commercials, kind of, sort of. Well, not really. I still think the Freelancer is the best, but, well, not the Freelancer, the M50, but then the Freelancer, and then probably this or the Hornet. But this is showing me that they're not scared to change the nature of certain things in the game. The corporate profile and the history of Drake Interplanetary is that they've been the company that's made ships for pirates, but stayed on the cusp of it by creating like the search and rescue variant of the Cutlass. That's one of the things that are in there. It's a personal fighter, freighter, hauler, and also a search and rescue craft. That's always been in that lore. But now they're shaking it up by saying not only do they have ships from this company that is traditionally known as the pirate company, but also ships that are going to the police force and bounty hunters. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in my Cutlass Blue review, which I should have out in just probably about 2 or 3 hours after this is out. Pretty happy that they're diversifying things here. It's making it very interesting indeed. There it is off in the distance over there. That's the Cutlass Blue, the police cruiser. And you've seen my preview, and now you're going to see an in-depth review of it. But I'm very happy about that. So what predictions did I make that didn't come true? I'm not sure. I should have wrote them all down. But I think that most of the things did. The Retaliator definitely did not hit us. It is not going to be out probably until after the PAX Australia. The Mustang will probably be out in the next couple of weeks. And the Avenger will probably be out in the next 6 weeks. Those are the next few ships that I expect to be hitting our hangar. Avenger, Mustang, with Mustang being first, and then Retaliator. After that, I guess it's all up in the air. Of course, Foundry 42 can sneak the Gladius into our hangar at any point, and since it seems like the Gladiator might be well further along than I thought it was, we may be able to see that before the November 1 week long sale. Did I just say there's going to be 1 week long sale? No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea if they're going to relive that wonderful week of wallets screaming out in despair and fear. I don't think they'll be able to do a 1 week sale this year because most of the ships that are coming out are over $100, and I don't know people that would have $700 to $1,000 to spend on ships that were in a 1 week sale. But last week it was a doozy, let me tell you. They had the military weekend sale just before the 11th, and then right after that, they put the concept ships up for sale, like the Banu Merchantman, the Sheehan Scout, and a couple of others. I am excited to see where the company is headed with this. I am excited to see pieces of the game starting to come into fruition, and I'm excited to see things that have been sitting in our hangar and not looking so beautiful finally looking gorgeous. So what do I want to happen from here? Well, I think that it's time that they bring along the social module so we can congregate inside of the game universe. I also think that it's time that they update the website. It's been a year ago since the organization system was announced, not released, but announced. And I think that it needs to have some updates. I'd also love to see the update to the front page that's giving much more information to the passerby that might land on the RSI website, just so they would know what actually is in the game. So there's a lot of things that I want, right? I want the planet side module, I want the social module, but I'm not asking for big things. I'm asking for it to be small things, small little pieces that we can partake in. If you look at the way that Elite Dangerous did it, it was like 5 systems at first, then 10, then maybe 50 or 100, and now a large pill-shaped area of the galaxy is cut out for you to go and explore and fly around in. It's all I want to see from Cloud Imperium Games. Get us that ACOM station up and running into a piece that you think would be beneficial to us. At first, give us just a small area of the player, that planet side module, just a small area of that one station, then open it up over time, just so we can actually go in-game, congregate, and see our characters as we talk. Though, I guess that's something that we should probably wait for the character creator to get to. Otherwise, it's just going to be a bunch of people looking all the same. Maybe it's time that they bring out different outfits. Who knows? But that's asking them to work on too much. So I don't want to get on too many tangents here. I'm going to move on to something else and then close this out. Before you turn off the feed and start going, oh my god, is she really going to play something that's not Star Citizen here? No, I'm not. I'm just giving you an example of how something could change over time. When War Thunder was released, it did not have takes in it. It did not have all the planes that are in it now, and it's actually been growing little by little. As time went on, the tanks that were good actually are not as good because they released better tanks. Same thing with the aircraft, and same thing with the players as these guys try to block me off. So this is a perfect example of a game that's been in development for quite a while and keeps on reinventing itself little by little. Is it a great game? No. Is it an okay game? Yes. Is it fun? At times. And I hope that this is something that we see in Star Citizen, that it just keeps on evolving as time goes on. I'll tell you this though, I play War Thunder and World of Tanks, and I've just been having a blast in World of Tanks, but War Thunder Tanks. The models and the play type is much better, and I love the graphics here. So let's get out of here before I lose any more of my viewers. So that was just a little bit of a view of what was going on in a different game. But in this game, I think that it's all about this. It's all about the ships right now, because it's all we could engage in. But look at what the ship is in. Look at how far the hangars have come in just a year and a few months. The asteroid hangar by far is one of the key things that we could walk through and see where the game is headed. And I'm very excited to be part of it and to be bringing you as much information about the game as I can. And I hope to God that you keep coming back here each week to get the info, because I really do love doing these videos. And as long as Chris Roberts is sending me out content, I will be doing as many videos as I can in the short time I have available each week. And now for a random contest. This is in addition to the contest that you'll get from commenting here saying that you want the mystery hanger flare, which this month was the M50 model. And I'm giving away 3 of them already. This will be for the 4th one, but this is not what this contest is going to be. One of the members of the Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous subscriber den thread has offered up a constellation model. If you want the constellation model, it's going to be very, very, very simple. We're not going to comment in the thread below because I don't want them to get lost. All you have to do is send an email to theaddictedgamer@gmail.com. The subject must read Constellation Model Giveaway. And inside the body, just tell me what your favorite episode was of Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous. And then sign it and make sure that your email address and your handle in-game is inside of the message. That's all I ask. And if you want the model, the shipping will be paid for by Jet Fueler. But I don't think that that's fair. I think that I'll be providing him the shipping money. So then that will come from the donations that you make either at starcitizenaa.com by clicking on the PayPal button there, or by going to patreon.com/Batgirl and becoming one of my patrons and helping to support the show and helping to improve it over time. That's all I got for you all this week. Thank you very much for listening to me. You got a brief glimpse into some of the video footage I'll be releasing over the next couple of days. And hopefully you are going to get a lot of information out of my Cutlass variants reviews, in-depth reviews, that is. Well, with that said, I'll talk to you all soon. You have a great week. Goodbye.